Never Stop Learning, week 145. We're going to take a look at the Transform Each feature available in Adobe Illustrator. So here you see I have this leaf pattern on my artboard, and I created this using the Transform Each feature. So let's see how I built this guy up. I'm going to hit Command A to select all my artwork, and then Delete to get rid of all my artwork. Now, I'll hit Command V to paste in some new artwork. I actually had this already loaded up into my clipboard. So before we get to this Transform Each feature, I'm actually going to go over a couple of little workflow tips with you. So I have my artwork selected here, and what I want to do is make a couple copies going towards the right here. So I'll hover over my selected artwork, hold down the Alt or Option key, and now I have this double cursor, and that's letting me know I can make a copy of it now. So again, while I'm holding down that modifier key, I'm going to click and drag and move it over towards the right. Now I'm just freely moving this around, but if I introduce the Shift key, you see it's keeping everything nice and level with my original artwork. I'll release the mouse first, and then you see it's created this copy for me. So what we've actually done is a transformation, and Adobe Illustrator has recorded all that information for us, so it knows how far towards the right, and it knows that it made a copy. Now, how could we use that information to speed up our workflow? Well, go to your keyboard and hit Command D, and what that's doing is that's a keyboard shortcut for transform again. But the way I remember it is it'll duplicate your last transformation. Alright, so now I have these copies going all along here towards the right, and I'm going to hit Command A to select them all because now I got to make some copies going downwards. So let's repeat that process. I'll hover over my artwork, hold down the Alt or Option key, click and drag with my mouse. Don't forget the Shift key, and that keeps everything nice and level for us. And then I'll release the mouse first, and now we have our copies. I'll hit Command D, and that way we can continue to make copies. Well, this is all I need for now. I'm just going to readjust this for a sec. Now we're ready to check out the Transform Each feature. So I'm going to select all these guys. Now, what I want to do is actually fill in some of these gaps. I like the location of my artwork, but I actually want them to get bigger. So I need to scale these guys up. Well, you're probably thinking, why don't I just use this transformation box? Well, if I click and drag on this, you see I'm freely moving these around. And actually, if I come towards the right, you see I'm squishing them. If I go towards the left far enough, you actually start seeing that they get fat. I'm starting to stretch them out horizontally. Well, to keep the proportion, hold down the Shift key. And now all the leaves are scaling to proportion, but we're still moving the location of them. I actually want them to stay where they were, but they're actually growing from the right to left right now. So maybe if I hold down the Option key, that's going to bring it from the center, but it's actually the center of the bounding box, not the center of my artwork. So again, I want the artwork to stay where it is. I just want to scale them up. Well, I'm going to Command Z and then just reposition this guy a bit. And let's find this feature for Transform Each. All you have to do is go to the Object menu, find Transform, and then choose this option here, Transform Each. Now, ... means a dialog box is going to pop up. And then towards the right, you see there's a keyboard shortcut of Command Shift Option D. All right, so I'll click on it. That brings up this dialog box here. And I'm going to hit Preview first, so that way I see the changes being updated on my artboard. All right, so remember I wanted to scale these guys up, so let's increase the scale a bit. Now, this is actually just going to change the scale for the horizontal. You see I've updated it to increase to 143%. And you see it's already updated here on my artboard. It's making these guys nice and fat. Well, if I bring up the vertical as well, it's keeping the proportion a bit more. And you see it looks a lot more like the original one. Well, let's slide these guys all the way towards the right. And this one too. Now I filled in all of these gaps. So 200% is fine for me, but if you needed to go higher, you could definitely do so. Alright, so I'll bring this guy up to 250. Just keep everything proportional. And that looks great. So in order to accept this change, all you have to do is hit OK. If you didn't want this change, just hit cancel and it'll revert back to how it was. I'm going to click OK so you can see what's going on. Alright, so if I hit Command Y in outline mode, you see I have all my artwork right here. And all we've done is scaled it up. Alright, so let me undo that. I'll go back to the Option menu, Transform, Transform Each. Okay, take a look at right here. It actually retained the information we had in there previously. So I actually want to leave it at 200 this time. And I want to come over here and click on this option here, Random. Now I'm not going to go through all the different options you have, but this random one is a lot of fun. So I'll click on this guy. And you see it's already doing a little bit of a randomization here. I have these smaller leaves and some bigger leaves here. So play around with this a bit. You see it'll just start randomizing things. So I'm just clicking around here to get different looks. Anything that looks interesting to you, go ahead and leave it there. Alright, so next what I want to do is maybe play around with this move slider a bit. And that's going to change the location of these. Again, because we're doing it in a random fashion, they're just kind of scattering around a bit. Well, all these guys are going up and down right now, so let's play around with this rotation a bit. Alright, so I'm going to rotate it up about 31 degrees, and I get a slight change. But what I've noticed is the higher you bring this value, the more crazy this change is going to look. So I really liked having it somewhere around here. It just has this really cool random effect going on here. And that's the look that I'm going for. So last time we clicked OK and you saw it accepted our changes. This time I want to show you what this copy button does. Alright, so when we click on it, it's actually making a copy of our artwork with the new transformation. If I go back into outline mode, I don't know if you can see these guys, but in a row you see we have these original leaves still sitting here. Alright, so I'll get out of that outline mode. And once I did this transformation, we could actually duplicate the transformation. So let's go back to our keyboard shortcut of Command D. And I just hit that a couple times, and it started filling in my artboard like you see here. Alright, so let me see. I'll just back off on this 2 times. Right there looks good to me. I'll deselect. And there you have it, folks. That's how I created the leaf pattern using the Transform Each feature available in Adobe Illustrator.